are watching this live or you're watching one of our recordings, I would personally like to welcome you to District 47's Tropical Time Trainings. This is going to be a series. So we hope that this one will spawn some interest, and we'll see you at our upcoming Tropical Time Trainings. Today, we are presenting Bringing the Magic Back to Meeting Agendas. My name is Distinguished Toastmaster Michelle Leeway. I am also one of the TLI co-chairs, and I am so excited to be here today. Let's get this one started. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a fan of the truth. How often does your meeting agenda look like this? I will be the first to say I have been a VPE, I have been a president, and I have been a member. And sometimes 24, 48 hours before your meeting, I've seen agendas look like this. But why? Why? People paid money to join Toastmasters. They paid money to come to club meetings. But why are they not helping fill up the agenda to make a successful club meeting? There's a lot of reasons. First off, we need to address what the lack of engagement is. Sometimes we have to look within. Were members, especially new members, were they properly trained or onboarded as new members? Did the VPE or the VPM actually sit down with them and show them how to sign up on the agenda? Everything is crazy nowadays, and maybe that slipped through the cracks. Did you make sure that new members and even old members have a mentor? Mentors help guide the process of our new members. And sometimes mentorship lasts only for your first 3 speeches, and sometimes mentors last for decades. But if they don't have a mentor to show them the way, or they don't have the social connections of other members of the club, maybe there's no incentive for them to sign up and join into the meeting. Sometimes it's no good communication. If they didn't know that there was an opening, how were they knowing that they needed to sign up? It is the job of the VPE, the Toastmaster of the day, and actually any one of the officers to make sure open slots on the agenda are communicated so people take advantage of that open slot. And sometimes either it's not feeling like it's a good fit, either the role, it could be the club. But if you don't feel comfortable, you're not going to want to get into the role. It's just like a pair of pants. If it's not comfortable, you're not going to want to wear them. So there are 3 things that contribute to lack of engagement. One is burnout, and I'm sure that everyone has heard of burnout. I'm sure everyone has probably said in their entire life, I'm burnt out here or there. But then there's bore out and brownout. They kind of sound alike, but they are 3 completely different ways of feeling and thinking. We know burnout, but we probably don't know the depth of bore out or brownout and what it can do to you or your members. Well, just burnout, since we all know what burnout is, or we think we do. I feel completely drained. This is when you're just exhausted. And it doesn't have to be from just Toastmasters. Burnout happens anytime in life. You're just emotionally drained from stress, heavy workload, overinvestment of time. If you've given and given and given and not given a chance to refill, you have nothing left to give. That is burnout. The feeling of being overwhelmed and unable to cope. How many times have you said, I just can't? I think I've said that today. I just can't. It means you're overwhelmed and maybe need to step back a little bit. The symptoms can be wide ranging. They can be emotional, they can be mental, they can be physical, fatigue, decreased productivity, depression. That all comes from burnout. Pay attention. If you start to feel those feelings of being overwhelmed and unable to cope, or you see it happening in members, this is when the helping hands need to step in. This is brownout. What's the point? This happens a lot to longtime members or longtime repeat officers. This happens more times than I'd like to admit. Feeling like it's the point, it doesn't matter. It's lacking purpose or value. The demotivation due to a lack of understanding of the why. I'll do it, but I don't know why. And this happens a lot in the clubs. We're still performing the tasks. We're still doing it. We're showing up. We're there, but it's with a lack of engagement. Or even worse, it's with a lack of passion. This one is hard to fight because the brownout means your spark is fading. It's not completely gone, like in burnout, but the spark needs to be reignited, either in you or your members. This is one that people don't happens in the clubs, yet it happens all the time. And it's something that we, especially for club officers, we have to admit. Members might be getting bore out. Ugh, so boring. Luckily, this one can be very easily fixed. This is total boredom due to lack of work or responsibilities. These are the members who don't sign up for roles. These are the members who don't want to do a table topic. The feeling under-challenged and disengaged. Instead of asking them those questions, asking them to step into the role, they just kind of check out. It leads to apathy, but it also leads to decreased self-esteem. I'm not getting anything out of this. Other people are. Maybe I'm not good for this. This one can be so easily fixed by just a change in the point of view, giving opportunities, giving that extra support, making sure that mentors in place, make those meetings fun. You can do anything from theme meetings to a simple thing like bringing cookies. Those little tiny positivities, that's what helps lead to wipe out of bore out. Here's some examples of burnout, brownout, and bore out. Burnout. A committee leader is taking on too many responsibilities and feeling constantly stressed, leading to exhaustion and cynicism. When that sarcasm that we have, that sometimes can be funny, but then it gets overwhelming, that's a sign of burnout. Brownout. Club member who used to be enthusiastic about meetings starts to feel their contributions don't matter and gradually becomes less and less involved. The VPE who's there and week after week after week, the agenda is not full. Then you have multiple roles being filled by single members. It's rough. And you start saying, why? Why am I caring when other ones don't care? Bore out. The club member stays in their comfort zone or is unchallenged. So either they're not signing up for roles or They only want to stay in that one role forever. This club member said, I'm going to be a timer. Really great at timing. Fantastic at showing those timing signals, but will never do another role. They've mastered that. Now it's time to step out and try something new. This is how we get over all three of those: burnout, brownout, and bored out. We have to build a ladder of engagement with our members, maybe also for ourselves. First, we cultivate the interest. That means you know who your members are. Find out. This person is very, very organized. This person loves details. That sounds like a great awe counter for me. This person really, really absorbs information. Find out these things. If they like doing that, find a role that matches that. That's how you're building up not only the interest, but the skill set. What they have on the outside of Toastmasters, bring it into the inside of Toastmasters. Encourage the interaction. A lot of times, new members come in and they are so shy, they don't want to reach out and do anything because the biggest step was just walking through the door. Sit next to those new members. Encourage them to sign up for roles. Sign up for something easy, like a grammarian or the timer. Sit next to them and make sure they know that they are not going on this journey by themselves. If you sit down next to them while you're doing aught counting and let them know this is why we ring the bell or this is why we mark this down, they will get a better understanding. When you have the why, you're more apt to interact. Recognize them. Who doesn't like to be recognized? Recognize the first-time timers, the first-time evaluators. Recognize those icebreakers. We have all sorts of rewards in Toastmasters, but you don't have to present a trophy. You can give ribbons. You can print out certificates. You can make a celebration for the first time anyone does an icebreaker. Maybe that's when the cookies come into play. Reward those little tiny things that include steps forward in their journey in Toastmasters. When they get a pat on the back, it helps move them forward. After they've been there for a while, deepen the involvement, especially those people who like to stay in that role for a very, very long time. Say, I know you like being a timer. You are fantastic at it. How about trying this next? Or you have done some fantastic speeches. I think that you have enough knowledge under your belt now that you would be a phenomenal evaluator. Deepen their involvement in the club, deepens their knowledge and their journey in Toastmasters. And then reflect. Look at everything that you have done along the way. Remember how you felt when you first came in? I remember what I felt like when I first walked into Toastmasters. Whoa, this is a lot. And then look where I am now. Never in my wildest imagination would I think over a decade later, I'd still be here with 2 DTMs under my belt. Look how far you have. Look how far the members have come. If they finally opened their mouth and answered a table topic and made it all the way to a minute, reflect how far they came on that journey. It helps remember where the spark started and reignites that little spark inside. Sometimes that's all it takes. When in doubt, remember the why. This is for you and this is for your members. Remember the why they came, why you came, why you stayed. Be the person who keeps that promise you made when you started. When they aren't engaging, when they're pulling away, remind them what brought them in the first place. And that will be the little tiny jog they need of their brain to say, I came here to do this. I came here to build my self-confidence. I came to build my skills. And if I don't participate, or if I walk away now, I'll be no better off than when I started. Be the person who reminds them that they made a promise to themselves when they walked through the door. And they will look at that and probably thank you, because igniting that spark again is something that is so important and something that people remember. I remember the first person I talked to the first time I came to Toastmasters. And I remember the first mentor I was assigned. I remember I was very, very bad at all counting the very first time I signed up. But I also remembered my mentor at the time sat beside me. And I learned. And now I hear bells every time I listen to somebody else speaking. But it's the why that starts the journey. And it's the why that will keep your members being engaged. Sometimes they just need to be reminded. This is the end of our first tropical time trainings. But if you have any questions about member engagement or building a ladder of engagement with your members, please reach out to me. My contact information is right there. I am, again, Distinguished Toastmaster Michelle Leeway. There are my emails. There is my phone number. And I cannot wait to hear from you. Please, if you have any ideas for future trainings, let us know at TLI at Toastmastersd47.org. And we hope to bring more of your references and your trainings to the members of District 47. On behalf of the entire TLI team, it's been my pleasure to be with you today. I want you to have a fantastic day. Remember your why and bring the magic back to your meetings.